Excellent. This shows us live on our YouTube and our Facebook page.
I like the music.
Right? It's kind of fun. It's a little bit of a
ambiance.
Might be a little too cheery for my Monday, but I'll take it.
Hey, if it starts off the week on the right foot.
That is true. Okay. So interesting. They changed up a feature here on Facebook and I'm trying to bypass it.
Oh no.
I know. I'm like, it's not allowed to change on me. I barely learned this stuff.
Changes constantly.
That is true. You have to embrace it. Okay, well, I've tried my best. I think it's out there for folks and it should be starting to alert them that we are live, in fact. Slightly behind schedule, but we'll make it up. And I know as any questions or comments come up, we'll do our best to try and take them. But we'll get this kicked off. I am Juliette Abdel, the Westminster Chamber President and CEO, and every week we come to you with some live broadcasts. They are a variety, so they feature our elected officials at the start of the week, giving updates on our city, resources and information you should be aware of. We feature some of our newer partners, so you get to know them personally more than just their brand and the company name that's out there. And then, of course, we round out the week with either a resource feature or a nonprofit corner on our Friday broadcast. So 3 times during the week that we try and commit to for you. Every now and then our schedule's a little bit off. So thank you for your continual understanding and your interest in these broadcasts. Now, if it is your very first time on our page, then I hope that you'll like this page, that you'll also hit the notifications or alert button and let others know that we are currently live by hitting the share button below this video as well. If you're a returning viewer to us, then I want to thank you for being a part of our broadcast for now 2 years. I could not believe when we first kicked this off that we would be going for this long. Those past 2 years flew by, and this has been a really great way of continuing to connect with you all. So you can find all those videos in the video section here on our Facebook page. You can also find it on our YouTube channel in those videos as well. Now, if you're not already connected with us, because we get the questions of, how come there's certain information posted on this Facebook page? How come you haven't posted that, etc.? We are on all social media platforms. So you can find us on not only here at Facebook and our YouTube channel, but you can also find us on our Twitter page and Instagram at Westy Chamber. And then, of course, our website for you that'll quickly flash. If you've never gone to it before, you're totally missing out, westminsterchamber.biz. That's where you can find what is going on in the community, what's going on with our businesses and with our organization. Now, I already see a few folks are starting to tune in with us. Mike's giving us a nice good morning message, and it looks like a hug as well. Thank you, Mike, for joining us on this broadcast. We also have our mayor, Mayor Nancy McNally, joining us this morning. Appreciate you tuning in, Mayor. I know your schedule continues to be busy, but let me know how your lasagna was this weekend. I saw you baking and I was like, I hope to see some pictures at the end. So yeah, let us know if it was delicious. I imagine it was. We've got Dave Carpenter with us as well, giving a good morning to our Councilor Emmons. And I think that's Juliet. Maybe he is attempting Spanish, like phonetically saying it the way that they would. Either that or autocorrect is just not his friend this morning. Now, the comment section is where we engage with you. This is where you can type in any fun comments our way. This is where you can also type in any questions that you have for our guests today, questions about information that they've shared, or just questions in general that you maybe wanted us to tackle for you. This will be where we pull it up and be able to display what that question is and in real try and answer it as best as possible. Now with us today, and I hyphenated your last name just this once, so that way folks can really put the name and the face together. But we have Councilor Smith, formerly, now is Councilor Emmons. That's why it was hyphenated as Emmons Smith, but it is Councilor Emmons. After several months of her committing to her loved one, she was finally able to make that legal change in the name. So thank you so much for being on here with us this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, it came to a point where, because I wasn't going to change it, because everyone knows me as Smith, and then in my personal life, I keep it as Emmons, and so professional was Smith, and so then I was like meeting new people, and what do I say? Am I Emmons or am I a Smith? So then I just was like, for ease and clarity, I am just going to make the legal change, and it's now official with Social Security and driver's license just came back. So I figured I should go ahead and just make the leap on all levels. So yes, right. I am Lindsay Smith, but if you still call me Smith, that's fine. I'm a Smith more than an Emmons in my entirety of my life. So, but yes, it's now Lindsay Emmons. So which also means that as my city email, you can still email at llsmith@cityofwestminster.us, but also it's now, you can also do my new email, which is LEMMONS, which everyone loves, lemons, so it's easy to remember. lemons@cityofwestminster.us.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. I will be sure to type that in for folks. I had no idea that would be, once you abbreviate that, it is lemon. So making lemon juice out of lemons, right? We've got a couple folks that hopped on here with us. I don't want to lose sight of them. I see our Mayor Pro Tem, Dave DeMont, is also on here giving a good morning message your way, Councilor Emmons, and myself. And we also have our Parker Brown giving us a good morning message. Brown. I know.
I've been trying to meet him at Carrabba's.
Oh yeah.
Every time I go in, it's So I'm is Parker here? They're always like, he's super busy. I'm like, okay.
He is. But he will make it a point to be there if he knows that you're there for sure. But most of the time he is somewhere out in the community, which is why we love Parker getting involved and getting behind things. Emilio Valdez giving a good morning. Yes,
You're getting glitchy again, Juliet.
Oh, can you hear me?
It's hard to hear you.
Okay, well, I'll turn it over to you to give some updates.
Are you kicking it off to me? You're super glitchy. I don't know if it's you or me. Okay, I'm just going to take over because I know that Juliet's been having some internet issues. So hopefully it's not both of us, but if so, let us know. But just a quick few updates for City of Westminster and actually our counties on Saturday, February 5th. Tri-County for Adams County and Arapahoe counties expired their mask mandates for indoor public spaces. And then Jefferson County is set to expire on February 18th. And I read based on the numbers, it could be as soon as February 15th. So it's a little challenging since Westminster is split between those counties, which makes it a little, am I in Jefferson County? Am I Adams County? Where am I wearing a mask? And that's kind of what we tried to avoid this whole pandemic. But Adams County their expiration on masks has ended. And then Jefferson County is set for February 18th. And then let's see, as far as safety in our police department, they are engaging with community on that public safety piece. they're really proactive in our community, but as I think we've all seen on Nextdoor or just talking to neighbors or social medias, we've seen an uptick in crime related to car break-ins, especially. And so I believe it was last week they held a community meeting in Harris Park for just updating them on a lot of variety of things related to crime, staffing the trash cleanup down there, illegal dumping, all things related to city issues. And then our police department is set to be live on February 8th, which I believe is tomorrow. Hard to remember what day it is. But they'll host a webinar on auto theft for our community members, and that should be live on GoToWebinar and will be promoted on our city social media channels and our website. And then I have to kind of put this out for a plug for anyone who's interested in being a lifeguard. Our lifeguard shortage is a real thing, just like employment shortage and supply and demand shortage. So we are feeling that rope getting tighter around our waist, essentially, for needing employees, specifically for lifeguards. Because we are in such a critical need for lifeguards, we're having to reduce our recreational hours at the facility for our pools and recreation. So unfortunately, those will be reduced hours beginning on February 12th. And then those hours should be updated on the website. But that will begin on February 12th. And then Westy is doing a Relief Westy tree sale. And those will, it started February 1st, and that will go until trees are all sold out. They started with 100 trees. I have been updated that there are only 7 trees left. So get your trees. They will be sold this month, and then you can pick them up in April. So with only 7 remaining, they are a hot commodity, hot item. And then finally, we have, as many may know, if you follow the Eagle camera at Stanley Lake last year, unfortunately, due to one of our crazy weather storms, one of the branches had fallen and the nest dropped. And unfortunately, all the babies did not survive. And so the eagles are still around, and council was informed that the eagle cam that everybody loves will be relocated to Bird Island. I guess the eagles have kind of relocated there and started making a new home, a new nest. And so that eagle camera will be up live in the next couple of weeks so that we can get the much beloved eagle view that everyone loves. So I think that's a quick update on my part of just hot items that are going on in the city for the last week or two. So.
Absolutely. And hopefully you can hear me better. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're gonna keep plowing through this. I know there's some technical difficulties. I think it's off both of our ends, to be honest, because I'm starting to also get you glitchy too. So thank you all for your patience with our technology. But that was a lot of information that you gave as updates for us. The mask updates, of course, with they no longer being mandated over on our Adams County side, and Jeffco predicted to be around February the 18th. You also touched on a couple of programs that our Westminster Police Department has going on or upcoming. And what I've done is quickly drop in a link because they were kind enough to share with us this event to help them spread the word about it. That's scheduled for tomorrow. So if anyone is interested in learning more about as car thefts are going on, this is basically a discussion with detectives around this, and it is an interactive session. So if you are someone that is experiencing this or is worried about it or knew someone, please consider sending the details their way. There's no cost, as our counselor has referenced for folks. Now, lifeguards are in need. I would volunteer, but I don't even know how to swim. So I don't know that I would be helpful to anyone.
It's a specialized job. So
right?
I can see it to be a fun one, especially for, high schoolers or
yes,
people in college. So.
for kiddos, especially as they're practicing, if they're on swim teams, trying to get involved with various sports or just increasing their endurance. Definitely look at applying to City of Westminster's job openings that they have. I'll quickly flash to that website for you if you were not already aware. cityofwestminster.us is where you can go to find not only those specific events that PD puts on, council information, of course, and then any jobs that are currently open and around. Now, Parker was kind enough to give you his cell phone number. I'm going to pull it up quickly for you, Councilor, and it is included in the chat section for you to find later on and go to if it is of interest for you to be able to just touch base with him before you get there, and he will give that nice warm welcome. Now let's pause on the trees, because I don't know if I did not hear it fully, but I typed in, I wrote trees free to residents. So tell me a little bit about that program.
Yeah, and I want to apologize. It's not free to residents. The city purchases about 100 trees every springtime around this time every year, and then they are sold to Westminster residents at cost. And so I believe, if I remember correctly, I think the tree cost is about $75 this year. Okay. So, and there was a variety of trees between creating large shade trees and then some smaller or ornamental trees. So, and that happens every year. And there's different varieties of species. I believe there was like an oak and then a couple maple trees, and variety of those species. So, but it's something that programmatically that we do every year. And I know that clearly we're on day 7, there's 7 left. So out of 100 trees and it started February 1st, they go pretty quick. So
yes, they do. And I am curious to ask, and this is my last question on trees. This is the first time I've heard about it. So I'm curious, where did this develop from? Or I guess what's the purpose around it? Is there just kind of this overwhelming need and residents are unable to find those things? Or I guess what would be the purpose behind the city doing that? I know we often do things to help folks conserve their use of water, or, change over specific practices that might help the overall purpose of the city. So I'm curious, I guess, more about this.
And I can't remember. I don't know if I want to say it's less than a decade that we've been doing in this. So this has been going on. The program has been going on before I've been on council, but I think it's to help, water wise, be conscious, and trees are just amazing, that they help shade at least, and help kind of create that less of a heat island that some areas might have. And so I think that this is to help just beautify our city. I can't tell you, I don't know the history of how it got started, but I think it's a great program for our residents, an opportunity for them to have trees at cost. Because if you go shopping for any plants in the springtime, they can become expensive. So having trees at cost is just a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Now, this evening, you all have a meeting that's on your radar for City Council. And what I've done is include the link over to the City of Westminster's agendas page, where folks can find out the specifics of that meeting and even the packet. But was there anything that you were wanting to reference in there, or notable, or just in general, that you wanted people to be aware of?
Just as always, we're streaming on YouTube, and it's always a good time to watch. I know you were with us a couple weeks ago for 2 straight days for our strategic planning. So, but on that agenda, there's a lot. As always, we're in a packed agenda, but we have quite a few executive sessions, and then we are going to take a deeper dive into the collective bargaining agreement that we'd like to put together for our, that's an executive session as far as our police department, but also we'll take a look at what we already have in place for our firefighters. CBAs, collective bargaining agreement. So we'll take a deeper dive into that. And then and then the status of the collective bargaining for our police officers. And then we'll receive a presentation from staff on the regional homelessness overview and next steps. I know that's a high concern for our residents in a lot of areas of the city. And then the participation of our Northwest Mayors and Commissioners Coalition lobbying contract. I guess the mayor had mentioned that we haven't been, or at least the last year, haven't paid into that. And so she brought it forward to council to say we need to be involved and at the table with this. So we are going to discuss a little bit more onto that. So, and then the other executive sessions, it is regarding eminent domain in Jefferson County, and then a discussion on a personnel matter on the next recruitment of a city manager. So jam-packed as usual.
No. So another very light evening is what it sounds like.
Yep.
Sarcasm involved in that. But if you're looking for some of those details, of course, executive session items won't be on there for you as part of the agenda, but you can see a lot of the other content, including some of the presentations that are scheduled out. I know you touched on the homelessness, and that is a topic of significance to our community, and how best can we all come together to try and address that. So I'm sure that'll be a great piece of data and facts that are provided to all of our counselors this evening. And to anyone that's zooming in or tuning in via their YouTube channel, you can, of course, go out in person, or you can do it from the comfort of your home. I have been privileged enough to go out there a couple of times, spent a couple of days with them in person. It's always a different dynamic, either which way. The streaming service does allow you to hear in and listen in, but there is that flexibility for you if you're interested in going in person. Now we're at the point where we can take up any comments or questions. I see our past board chair, Brian, had giving a good morning message our way, but anyone else that is starting to tune into the broadcast, if you had questions you wanted our counselor to answer, of course you can type that into the chat section, or if you had any comments or thoughts that you were wanting us to be aware of, you can also do that as well. We have shared with everyone the email address to Councilor Emmons. Of course, there are two emails. Her initial email, which was lsmith@cityofwestminster.us. LL Smith.
There's already an L Smith, so
yes,
I became an LL Smith.
I need to go in here and fix that. And then the second one, which is much easier for me to remember, and that was Lemons, LEMMONS@cityofwestminster.us. And that is a great way that you can reach her directly by email if you are interested in touching base. But overall, is there anything that you all want us to touch on, whether it's right now or at a later point in time? If so, you can always type it in the chat. If you are tuned in with us, you can hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see that we're live in real time and ask us. And then sometimes people like to DM our page with some more sensitive information or private information. That is always an option for you. So if you are personally experiencing something to you and you are wanting to share that in private with us to try and get it addressed, we're happy to read that your way. But is there anything that you wanted to touch on, Counselor, that I did not ask you or kind of go over?
Yeah, so just jumping on all of the options and ways to reach out. I mentioned this in my last session with you, is that Access Westminster is a great way to, one, either to look up any questions or any problems you might be experiencing in the city, and then there might be answers in that. And then if not, Access Westminster, if you write in through that portal, it will connect you to all of council members, and then we can get you connected to the right staff member to answer any question that you might have. So just putting a plug in again for that Access Westminster. So
yes, and we know that a couple of our folks have used that after viewing that broadcast and were able to kind of track that information, even came back and said, hey, we submitted it through and this was addressed for us. So a great way to not only reach everyone, but to keep track of the projects that you are trying to get some help on and information on as well. Okay, well, I'm just double checking. I don't want to lose sight if someone has commented or go over that. I know we started a little bit later as well, so I'm a little bit thrown off with trying to make sure that that everyone is being taken care of. And they did updates. I kid you not. Like I can't even. Yeah. Like, ooh, this is changes that were done over the weekend.
I will say I'm going to check in with the mayor this afternoon with the lasagna she made. So great kind of segue into that is that she oh, look at that. She grows like wonderful veggies, right? And her zucchini, like they're huge, right?
Oh my gosh.
And so she usually has way too much she grows way too much so that she then gifts them to me and to others. And so I'm gluten-free, and I make zucchini lasagna from what she gives me from the zucchini, and usually it takes me about 5 little ones from the store to cut up and make the lasagna. Or hers, because she grows them so big and wonderfully that I usually only need one. And so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they turn out amazing, and I just love it because I'm able to get them into like with lasagna noodles, like actual lasagna noodles instead of like strips and piecing them together. So, so thank you, Mayor, for taking care of her and feeding our community.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. I love that plug. And I'm so glad you shared it. Now, I don't know how many are going to start bombarding her for those zucchinis. She may have to look at producing even more than she already does.
Sorry. I just tell her, I'm like, I love her zucchinis just because they're so handy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a difference between, well, homegrown and locally grown anyways, is, we always pride and try and promote that. But there is a difference when it is from your own garden and when you're getting it at the store. And it's sometimes it is shocking just how different that is. So that was a great sentiment and a great note to touch on. Getting ready to think about my garden. That's awesome. We may have to end up getting her a few expansion on what she already has. That is amazing. Well, I don't see any additional questions our way for anyone that is tuned in. I know, Noelle, you just hopped onto the broadcast with us. Thank you for joining us. We've had with us Councilor Emmons, formerly known as Councilor Smith, either or she will answer to, because of course that was her previous unmarried name. So for folks that are interested in either reaching out to our city with any questions or information about issues that you might run into, our counselor did reference Access Westminster. I've dropped that into the chat section. We touched on a number of items around our PD. We also touched on tonight's agenda item for the city council, and let you all know that is online if you are interested in finding out more information about it. Quickly flashing that link for you so you can see that. It does have the presentations that will be referenced and some of the overall items that will be discussed. We also touched on the PD's program, so I quickly included a link that we had up for their event that's taking place tomorrow. If you're interested, it's at no cost for you to come out, and it's actually not even coming out. It's going online to the go-to meeting and speaking with their team and hearing from them around car theft, auto thefts that are going on in our community, and getting some of those questions that you might have answered. We also touched on the actual City of Westminster page, where you can find information broadly about what's going on in the city, and that also includes the details around those trees, which I had mistyped. They are not free. They're $75 each, but it does sound like they are going away quickly. So if that is something that you are interested in as a resident, you can find that, of course, the details directly on the city's website. And I do want to thank you all for, of course, tuning into the broadcast with us. Sometimes we are heavy and over on time, and sometimes it feels like it might be a little bit less in what we're sharing. It doesn't mean it's less work. It just means it's less that can be publicly shared on some of those things. As you heard with the number of executive sessions that the council is having, there are a number of efforts that they're continuing to work on as a collective group. Now, if you are tuning into the broadcast at a later point in time, you can always let us know with that hashtag replay, whether it's afternoon, in the evening. If you rewatch this on the weekend, we want to know if you enjoyed any parts of this video, or if there was information you were hoping for that we maybe didn't touch on. It helps us continue to shape the future conversations that we, of course, have on these broadcasts. Now, Our counselor has spent a good amount of her morning with us. She was actually testing her tech as well in advance of this. So I do want to free her up for the rest of her afternoon. So I thank everyone that's tuned in. And I, of course, thank you, Counselor, for being on here and a part of our broadcast once again this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on